because it varies a lot whether or not they want to play aggressive and whether or not they take up passive positions and rely on more default setups. But I'm looking for stuff like this from Scream.
Your wish has been granted. And quick dust to classic Rush B no stap is in play, and it's successful. The matchmaking special is always a good go-to. Well, not much, I guess, for GT to do in this position. Smith's an RPK looking to win against a multitude of opponents. It will be rather challenging, though. Okay,
yeah.
It's like, will you kill RPK? Or will he stand there whiffing all of his shots? Maybe it's a psychological strategy.
Basically, just destroy his hearing, destroy his mentality, then take his life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do if you're in that position where they're just dodging? You don't kill anyone. You run out of bullets. You're just there, reloading. Then they can take their time to kill you. That's demoralizing.
That's very true. Well, they're going to get a new chance, G2. Picked up a scout on Shoxy this time. And again, it's a force buy, so getting slightly worried, but mousesports so far handling it a tiny bit better. Shoxy actually getting a bit too eager.
He is tagging people.
Yeah.
There's a shark on his gun.
Yeah, it's out for blood.
Just like the situation for James when he's going to be in the water, diving.
Could you see like
California?
The panic in James's eyes the second he realizes that he stepped on a coral, he started bleeding from his leg. It's all going wrong. And it's all going wrong for mousesports again.
Typical.
Speedy left with 11 HP, and the Hand of God grenade is sent into the site.
I mean, it's great work from Shox, just getting all the tags. Obviously, really weathered the mousesports side when it came to that actual final push onto the bomb side. Just enough damage done to everybody. And Shox making the assists there, 3 assists for him. Lovely stuff from G2. Kind of not too incredibly surprised that they're able to pick up a force buy win, to be honest, after what we've seen, and just because of how mousesports approached it.
And I think that's the key thing, how mousesports approached it, because we've been talking about the fact that mousesports used to have really, really well thought out anti-ecos, especially on Dust 2. They will be basically all 5 players towards long, and even though people knew about it, it's very hard to deal with.
Right.
And they haven't done it a single time to the same manner as they used to in these 2 games so far. So that bit of a disappointment, because that's one of the things I like the most actually about mousesports on this map.
There's another thing we can say about it too, but there might be a chance if mousesports to actually force by G2 right back. They managed to get into a 3 versus 3, but now things are looking a little bit worse. It's going to take some big clutch play here from Chris J and Dennis. Dennis only 6 HP, so you can't really expect much. But yeah, everybody's dead. And I have to, again, like our question, for example, on that force buy, we saw one of the tags that could have been a frag for Shox. Chris J looking for a scout kill on middle. And again, it feels like you're playing with 2 ideas here, and you're not committing to one. So if you, as you say, you send everyone in long and you get the bomb down, there is no way really that the CTs can win the round from that point. There's no real way for them to do that. So why do you want to play for picks at the same time? It's I guess, you know, you can make that choice, but I feel like you're playing with multiple objectives and you don't need to.
Exactly, and because you're so limited on what you can actually utilize, then in terms of weapons and grenades, obviously, you should at least commit to one thing, because that's going to make it, you're stronger in numbers. So if 5 people committed on the same ID, bigger likelihood of actually having success with it.
Yeah, certainly true.
And speaking of committal, 3 people just run out mid with the bomb. Nico's on short, not really doing anything, and Lowell's sitting outside of tunnels.
It's another interesting one too, actually. You have a point. I mean, because it's another one of the spots where it's like, okay, what is the team objective? And if you've got a bunch of Eagles, okay, you know, no utility, that's fine, okay. You want to play for the picks, but as you say, it doesn't seem like the 2 kind of lurkers, as it were, in that position in Eco and Lowell were in a position to really capitalize upon kind of the distraction of that mid push. So
exactly, because you would have expected Nico to be further up on short, so the guys who normally play from slope, or maybe they've pushed down towards Siki spawn or something, they're going to be distracted by the fact that 3 people are coming up mid. Nico can handle those players, and you can work off of that. Lowell, on the other hand, had like, well, yeah, he was absolutely nowhere near anything And well, here we go.
Wow, look at this aggression. That nade almost good to find the finishing blow onto... Actually, I don't think Dennis was near, actually, but this aggression's kind of ruthless. Smith's just going in at such an early point in the round in upper dark.
Look at RPK as well.
This push is kind of nuts as well. Here he goes. RPK should be able to catch at least one player for free. There's Lowell. And you can't like mousesports' chances too much because they're yet to get the bomb down. However, the positioning on A is not really there for G2, so the bomb should be able to go down without trouble. But just in how low Nico and Dennis are at the moment, doesn't give you a huge amount of confidence if you're a mousesports fan.
Especially knowing that RPK has a Molotov as well, so he's going to be able to clear out a significant part of the site unless Nico just immediately ends him. But we'll see how it plays out. RPK playing it fairly passively for now. Body moving his way up.
And there he goes. A nice approach from G2. Good headshot from Spitty, but instantly traded as Dennis comes back up now to see what can be done. But he has Scream to contend with, and Scream is going to win the day. So, nice retake overall by G2. Again, kind of crazy just how incredibly aggressive they were.
Yeah, but they tried the same kind of a push in the last game on their first actual buy round after all the force fights went back and forth. Didn't work out in that game, but what I like to see from this and the adaptation that at least Scream made was the fact that he didn't end up in a situation where he was halfway in towards tunnels where Body and Smiths was and halfway watching mid. Instead, this time around, he was watching mid, so even though they didn't find anything initially in Upper Dark, Scream had control over mid, so he was able to find a pick. Because that was the answer for mousesports last time around when they figured out that they'd push aggro in B halls. The entire mouse team just runs through mid up to B. So it was a nice way of actually recognizing the situation from G2's side.
And now they're in a spot where after the early exchanges, they're down to a 3-on-3, and Body's alone on B. The push, this is cool. This is a good adjustment here. Push from RPK in A long, but perhaps a little bit too late, maybe even, as we see that mousesports. This is the cool thing, actually. mousesports didn't delay their push onto B too much to allow RPK to actually get something there. I feel like a lot of times it's the T's there, especially mousesports, are going to sit there doing nothing for too long. But this time they actually just went on to B in a timely manner.
Hey, they definitely did. I'm a little bit sad that Body put himself in a situation where he can get wrecked pretty much from upper and mid, or basically where he's open for both angles. Like a couple of steps out into mid. I guess he was still worried about Mouse still having a full focus on the middle area. Maybe going out with 3 people. But in general, I like if you're holding that B bomb side alone, you kind of have to commit to one of the two things. Either you're just gonna have to go full focus on holding off tunnels, or you're gonna have to hold towards mid, and that's just the one job you have. Well, finally a round on the board, first one in a while for mousesports, and even with that, they're not gonna get the greatest of buys. You can see Lowell out of nades already, about 2 seconds into the round. Luckily for them, though, G2 opting to go for double up setup instead of actually getting utility and bolts on everyone.
It feels like I think Nico was just a tiny bit too early there for the flash, or maybe even Shox was fine anyway. Shox is kind of monstrous. Another frag made in middle. Good stuff. 5 versus 3 start for G2. That's something that they can definitely be quite happy about. So we wish to see whether or not they can actually close this one down. Another free frag pretty much for RPK. The flashbang didn't really seem to worry him too much. And another one-on-one for him.
There we go.
So just, I think we've seen 4 one-on-ones.
Something to that effect, yeah. And
5 now.
It's all about being consistent with it, right?
I guess there is that. It will definitely, as you say, mousesports had just one round. Doesn't look too good for them now.
Back in the bin.
Yeah, that's one way to put it, back in the bin. I like that.
Yeah. We'll say borrowed that from our Australian, Chad.
Right, yeah, and obviously, interestingly, bin is a word that Brits would use and Australians. So
yeah,
so I like that. I like it.
It's almost like you have some history together.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Ooh, okay, we've got some frags coming in here. I don't know if too much we made of this in the end. We've got Body for cleanup. The bomb is going to make its way towards B, so there's opportunity for a plant, actually, but surely there's no way to clean this up with such low HP on these players.
Shouldn't be. But I'm surprised the mousesports were able to do as much damage as they've done already, and they're going to get a bomb plant for their troubles as well.
Yeah, this is really nice. I mean, here we go. We've got the push coming from G2. Oh, a bit scary, but looks like they'll line up for RPK, so it's all okay in the end.
Wasn't pretty, though. I'm actually surprised, but given how much damage, I think it was Scream was the first point of contention really for mousesports in mid there, how much damage he did that nobody else was able to follow up on that. And again, body, same position, same result, focuses on mid, still very, very vulnerable for anyone who's going to be coming up from tunnels, as the Soul Man on the side gets taken out again without too much damage being done.
It is interesting, by the way, some of the differences. You know, in other words, that you see this little mid push to clean up the eco. In other words, that I think Americans don't have, that we use, like, for example, in America, they'll say dumpster, right?
Yeah.
But we would, I think for us, that's a skip. I don't think they have that. Do you know what a skip is?
Yeah, I know what
right?
it is, but yeah,
do you have that in America? I don't think you do.
I like that you have, like, do you have that in America? As if I would know. I don't think so. I haven't heard it, at least. I haven't heard of it. It's always a dumpster.
Yeah, I don't think they have a skip. Or they don't have skips or bins. There's no skips or bins. Things we have in the UK and on Australia.
To be fair, they don't have a bonnet either. They have a hood.
It's true. On it like a car bonnet.
Yep.
Okay, we've got Shox here. Just Shox things. There you go.
Getting fancy.
If Shox has time to fire, he will kill people. He will land the bullets. RPK on the bomb side as well. I mean, Shox has done enough damage here because mousesports, they have some flashbangs going in, but ultimately a 1-for-1 is going to be good. As Shox, again, he did his job. He got the 2 kills there in interesting circumstances, leaving this into the 3 versus 2 essentially. Scream able to take away Spiddy's help. The help is gone, and so is Spiddy as well. Unable to really get much done there. And again, I mean, Shox just stays out there, man. Gets it done.
Guy who's got confidence, to put it that way.
Can't wait to see the replay.
I'm a bit surprised though by the decision from Nico, and that, and because they're down to 3 men at that point. Shoxy picking up the 2 first frags, and Oscar, I want to say Oscar because I saw him up, but it's Nico obviously. Nico decides to jump into CT spawn, and obviously you can't assume that Chris is going to die as well, but obviously when you're man down, you kind of want to take control over the site, get the bomb down, and then figure out what you want to do, instead of just leaving your teammates in a bit of an iffy situation.
Speaking of iffy situations, Salvor, we've got Shox just standing here. He's not going to miss a shot.
That's bomb as well.
He will not miss a shot. He's not going to miss any shots. Doesn't matter how difficult.
No scope for hard mode. Let's go.
It's just, honestly, it's frankly a joy to watch Shox when he's just feeling his form. It is, I think Shox might be...
When he's in his,
when he's in his god mode?
In the Matrix, yeah. When he enters the Matrix, he is probably, in my eyes, he's probably the most fun player to watch in the world.
Yeah, I think that's definitely where I was going with it.
Because everything just seems so easy and natural, and it's just like, it's meant to be. Everything he does.
It's a thing of beauty.
Oh, Scream, super aggressive. So again, G2 busting out the aggression here and having way more success with it this time around. Ooh, this is an interesting angle to take. Just camp it out, pretending you're a T for a while. Works out as well.
Also, it's frags, man.
Why not? Why not?
Here you go, RPK. Here's one for you. There's one for you. The sacrifice.
Given how mousesports were set up in that situation as well, you'd never imagine we could see where 2 of the mousesports players are in that when Scream starts tapping in mid. The fact that he gets away with this, that Chris doesn't end up killing Scream, is a bit crazy.
And they're never running out of money at this point. They all have.
Oh yeah, they're fine for the rest of the half.
Crazy cash.
Like barring some unreal 5-man opping strategies coming in for the next 3 rounds, I think they'll be all right.
Okay, so is this where Shox meets his maker?
Ooh.
Oh, armor spotted, so no.
He's gonna fall back though. What a wimp.
He's biding his time. It's like, I will allow them to live.
for now.
For
Shox the demigod.
A few more seconds.
Smith's not showing as much compassion. We'll take out Chris J with an aggressive push, like kind of like half angling in that smoke. And very nicely done.
Oh dear. It's always very interesting when you have two players basically staring each other down in the smoke. However, it's going to be G2, just all G2 here. Honestly, we have not seen anything from mousesports. I feel like we've not seen a round where they have done something really. Except,
like take control of a cat, set up for an execute.
Yeah. I mean, granted, some of the they have not had big buys many of the time, but some of the times that they have had big buys, we've seen big aggression from G2, which has essentially shut down any plays before they can get going. So
I think that's the thought process of G2 as well. The fact that they want to be so disruptive with it that mousesports never really feel comfortable to slow down the pace and actually set up for anything like that. It's a bit of a speed demon that Nico will actually find body, not Shox, who was his initial target. But a kill's a kill.
Yeah, and Shox actually misses 2 shots. He knows he's got to commit here to the death. It's crazy stuff there because, again, Shox missed 2 initial shots, potentially 3 in the end there, which it feels like previous in this map would have been guaranteed kills for Mr. Shox. But perhaps his focus wavered for that one round, this one round. And now it's a 1 versus 3.
RPK. The old faithful. It's going to break down on the roadside. And Dennis takes him out. 3 rounds for mousesports, though. Not quite the same result as he had in the first time around. So I guess in that sense, very correct in saying that this game is going to be different.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's just so hard to predict, isn't it, with these two teams? It's just so. I think I said yesterday, or maybe it was today. Who knows? All blurs together. That G2 essentially are propped up by the individual performance.
Yeah.
All the class that they have, it does rely on the individual performance really to see it come in to full fruition. And largely we've been seeing that, except for the hiccup that was the previous round for Shox. He's going to return in this round with a quick headshot. And we've got Smiths with the push-up catwalk to gain even more information for G2 to finish off the round. And there's nothing really to worry about at this point. RPK's locked down one end of long, and Smiths is going to soon discover the bomb. And this is just kind of nuts, isn't it? Just all the ways that G2 are finding kills. It just really didn't look like mousesports were there on the server.
Yeah. The biggest difference really from this game and the last one is, first off, they managed to win that battle of 4 spies early on. Versus mousesports, so their economy gets a tiny bit more settled. They actually have success with their aggression versus every single buy round that mousesports has. So mousesports never really have a round where they can set up for something, actually do a proper execute with grenades and whatnot. And well, you see the result of it. But it is in very large part, both of these teams are not, like, they don't have consistent ways of playing.
Yeah.
That's why we're seeing such a big disparity here. Mouse off to a good start in the pistol round.
Yeah, I mean, very fortunately, we saw for mousesports and Nico, he picked up a very quick kill up middle at the start of the round, and now things, as you say, got worse. And they lost Scream too. You know, presumably, you know, I say one of their best pistol players next to Shox, Shox, Scream, RPK. In goes Shox and Body though, straight through the window. Quick kills made, and that is why they are good pistol players. Body turning up with 3 as well. Shox always makes it look easy when he goes in for kills. It's nuts. And 13-3 is the reality here for mousesports. It's a harrowing reality because they need every map win as well.
Yeah.
They basically need every map win. And I don't think they are going to get this one. I don't think it's going to happen, man.
It's going to have to be something special. I mean, we've seen some of the usual suspects, I guess, from G2 and Shoxy and Scream get into their zone. I think we're going to need Nico to enter God mode.
Nico will have to enter God mode. I feel like with Nico, we see less God mode than we should out of him, just because of maybe the way that the team works around him.
But I also think it's like his insanely high level, it just feels too normal in that sense, which is pretty ridiculous. The fact that you kind of expect, like, you wouldn't bat an eye if Nico has 30 frags every game.
No, absolutely,
for mousesports.
Yeah. But the thing is, yeah, that's the thing. Like, it feels as though a player like Shox or Scream are much better enabled, whether it's because they're not calling or the system works better for them, whatever it might be. It feels like they're better enabled to have the ability to use their skill, as opposed to Nico. I always feel like Nico's always in spots where we don't get to see what he's capable of.
in a lot of ways for me, the big thing is that whenever I say, like, Nico can have a big game every single game of his mousesports career, that does not mean that mousesports are going to win every game. But with Shoxy, it feels like every time he has a big game, G2 wins. That kind of thing. I think that's the biggest difference between them. The fact that Nico's big performances isn't necessarily always enough. But I'm not, like, obviously you can't fault him for that because he's doing everything he can.
He's doing his darndest. And doesn't seem to be enough in this matchup exactly, but that's G2 sometimes. I feel like G2 almost comparable sometimes to a force of nature. A hurricane. You don't know when it's going to sweep in, but it's going to sweep in. It's going to tear everything up. You're not ready for it. And it's going to go. Then it's going to go away.
Yeah.
And you don't know. You don't know when it's going to come back again.
It's a very nice way of looking at it. Yeah, it's a nice example actually. I like that. I'm gonna start stealing that. G2 are like a hurricane because it's more fun to say than G2 are inconsistent. Yeah. It depends if they show up.
That's very true. That's very true. Eloquence, British eloquence. Let's go.
Here we go.
So the quick push into the B bomb side to finish things off here for G2 against mousesports. I mean, this has been a very, very fast one. My goodness, a very fast one indeed. It's 25-2, in fact. 25 to the hour when the next game is scheduled to take place. And G2, they've made quick work of mousesports. Get out of the server. I guess one thing we'll check is the schedule. I'm wondering if G2 have more games to play today. I can't even remember. So many games.
I want to say
okay,
they play 2 more versus VP.
Versus Dignitas Nukes. Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's right, the double nuke series.
That might actually be really interesting. I'm actually very interested in that.
Speaking of interesting, actually, Chris has managed to take out 2 here.
He's got this.
He might be able to clutch it.
Yeah, he's against Smith. Oh, Smith misread the play from Chris J there. And Chris, oh, he's not got a kit. Okay, he's good. He's good. He's very good, in fact.
He's good.
Yeah, so interesting there. Would be very cool to see like Smith's perspective there on that last passage of play, just to see how he read the situation. Obviously here we can see Chris in the 1 versus 3. First frag there through the doors, finds the... It's quite interesting that RPK got caught from that, actually, because it's quite a common position to check.
I think that's the biggest thing, really. RPK getting sloppy with his positioning gives Chris J an open or golden opportunity to actually bring mousesports potentially back into this, or at least give them a chance to get weapons. And then Scream just stomps on their heart.
Absolutely denied. Although, get some frags coming back here from mousesports. Not looking too fantastic, though. Oof. Lowell able to take down RPK in middle, which does leave the bomb in the open, but Smith is on the angle, looking for any CTs to push that, but they're just going to hold off for now. Looks like Lowell's got a nade out. Okay, he hasn't got any flashbangs, so...
Double molly for that.
Very thorough.
Very thorough, but they're not going to have any ways of clearing out the bomb site, at least for now. And, well, will they expect Nico to be at long? Now they will, and sadly for him, he only has 7 HP. And will be taken out. I guess headshot with the AK doesn't really matter how much HP you have at that point. Oh, Cole has found a Molotov, and is going to find Scream as well, so it's all down to Smiths. Will he be able to close it out? He's not going to be able to find the remaining bullets needed to take down Lowell, and Lowell's going to pick up an op for this as well.
Oh, by the way, another reason why the Hurricane thing works is because you can't. It's not something that you can't stop it when it's happening.
But
you have to wait for it to pass
or run away.
Like exactly. Just focus its efforts elsewhere. And you can see that perhaps that's the strength of the winds are calming down somewhat because mousesports are bringing themselves back into this. The only problem is it's perhaps a little bit, I wouldn't say, you know, too late, but it's just that the road is long and arduous.
Yeah. This is, it's like a triathlon, pretty much, for mousesports at this point. Still have both running and cycling to go.
They are the Fellowship trying to reach Mount Doom. And that's a good start. That is a very good start. Looks like Body's going to be able to answer back, though, so life is going to be made slightly complicated here. Weird positions for the T's in CT spawn. really odd to see this push coming in. Dennis will clean it up quite easily. So, well, looks like the beginning of the journey is going.
Vladdy's got some work to do here.
They're going to make it out of the Shire after all.
I'm not sure if that was just like a spur of the moment thing from Shaxi and Scream. Be like, okay, like, oh damn, the guys in Upper Dark died. Let's jump into CT spawn, even though Bomb's not here. Like,
yep. I mean, they probably feel very free to do anything they want right now. But Dennis will pick up a nice clean ace here in the end. Very clean. Oh, he got tagged right at the end. Oh dear.
Ruined.
Anyway, 6 rounds to mousesports. Only, well, let's try not to count. Let's try not to count. I'm sure they're not counting. Nico doing the anti-eco things. And I think there is merit to that play every now and again, but
I don't think there's that much merit to it versus ecos.
When I feel like when they don't have Kevlar or helmets or anything like that, or any semblance of guns, when it's like a Glock eco, I'm okay with it. Like, for example, on the...
yeah, because it's at that point, it's actually hard to die.
Yeah, like the 3rd round, you won the pistol round, you beat the force by that 3rd round. I'm okay with it then. But otherwise, sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure about this sometimes.
I like it as a thing to do in buy rounds, simply because, well, I like aggression on first buy rounds.
Yeah. Also, maybe with multiple people to support you as opposed to a solo play.
Yeah,
another one as well. Get some nades in there or something. I don't know. Anyway... It's back to the buys here, and mousesports are starting to scramble together a respectable score. Well, it's not yet a respectable scoreline, but it's a scoreline. Nico with the initial defense there on Catwalk.
Very slow forward push from G2.
That trade. Where was the trade?
It wasn't there.
Don't think you can call that a trade if Nico's killed 3 people. That's not the kind of trading you should be doing.
God, no.
It's a bit too expensive. Don't know anything about trading, otherwise I'd probably make an awesome joke about trading, something about finances, but I just don't. It's out of my depth.
Not about that Wall Street life.
Nope.
Well, Dennis, feeling confident. I feel like it's always Smiths who gets like those kind of shots to him on G2. I don't know. Maybe his head attracts bullets.
Magnet's head?
Yeah. Well, it's like ICP. Magnets, how do they work? Nobody really understands.
Ooh, very nice. Oh, not quite. Always reminds me of that scene from Breaking Bad with Jesse.
Yeah.
It's like, magnets!
Magnets, bitch.
Indeed. That's a great scene.
It's a great show.
Yeah. All right, so 59 and mousesports bringing it back. So G2, they seem to have been they've run out of bluster. Let's see if they can find it once again. Here goes Shocks onto the Xbox here. Very fast timing onto the Xbox, I have to say. And Nico is once again is on this angle. Perhaps Shocks realizes that Nico's been playing this spot. He wants to challenge him, and Shocks will win the day. And that's going to give a free path to the A bomb site. Shocks has opened it up. He's got the key. He's eliminated the Vanguard. And now all he has to do is get that bomb planted, and that's exactly what is going to happen. So G2 looking pretty good.
Speedy does find, I think it was Scream was playing towards that long area. It is beneficial. So a lot of the counter pressure pretty much, or a lot of pincer pressure taken away from G2. So quite a few nades going out here. Ooh, that's a nice no-scope from Chris J.
Ooh, lots of damage done here. Smith needs to clutch this. 1 versus 2. Taking another first player. Cannot get it done. Unfortunate. Good retake coming in from mousesports. And again, they have they're managing to make their way there.
They are. It's good. I mean, it's fairly close in that sense. That could very easily swing the different way around. If Chris J doesn't get that frag onto Shocks, Shocks can bolt down into CT spawn and basically play cat and mouse with the remaining mousesports members. So not super comfortable situation for mousesports to be in. Obviously, if they mess this up at any given point, it's just over. So needs to be seen what they're going to be able to do. Shocks again with an early opening. This time towards the B bomb site.
Shocks, you dirty dog. You dirty dog, you. with those frags, eliminating Nico in the round previous. Now Chris J is the first to fall at the hand of the mighty Shocks. But still 2 AWPs alive in the round for mousesports as they look forward to the defense or the next offensive efforts from G2. Nico, wow. Was that, I think that's Smith, yeah, starting up and just getting out of harm's way before Nico could get on top of that. It's like the B play, the split is coming.
Smiths, okay. Gets Nico, but gets taken out by a little right out. Shoxy. Stop it.
Wow. He was waiting for that one. And despite losing body, this is interesting actually, because what do you G2 think's going on in the map at the moment? Because they got the kill onto B and they just don't go into B.
Especially when body gets taken out by Speedy at long, so at that point you know, absolute worst case scenario, there's one guy on B. And I think you like those odds if you're 3 surviving G2 members in Upper Dark.
Oh yeah, especially because you killed the guy on Plateau too, so you know roughly where the guy should be. Exactly.
Oh, they're gonna make it work anyway. But yeah, in a situation like that, you know that well he can at best be towards car, noob corner, that kind of thing, and you can clear those angles pretty easily if you're 3 people from G2.